Good morning. How is everybody? So last video, we kicked right off into talking about building your dream home, And the first thing we talked about was land. We talked about land. We talked about a few other things around that, but we talked about land specifically and what it costs in order to purchase the land. What are some of the drawbacks of doing land purchases? But now today we're going to talk about, so right now we're in the old school frame, which is you buy the land, then you get a construction loan, and then you refinance those into a conforming or non-conforming loan of some sort, right? So we're going to talk about the old school, and then eventually this series will end with the one-time closed construction, the new way of doing things if somebody's purchasing as a primary or secondary resident. So let's go right into it. So what's the next part? After we purchase the land, which we talked about, you're looking at 25 to 50% cash down, you're on a 20-year note and a higher interest rate. What's the next thing? We're going to be looking at a construction loan. There's a lot in this part of the process, So when it comes to the construction loan, you got to find a builder. Typically on any variation of construction that you're going to be doing or the construction loan itself, the lender is going to require that there's some form of portfolio. The builder has some form of success. They've done this in the past. They could show that they're actually a accredited builder. I've had people argue with me on this a little bit. Typically, relatively smart people that have watched either a lot of YouTube or they're a contractor in some way. I had a guy recently, he's like, well, I do grading. I own a grading company. Great. Have you ever built a house? If the answer is no, that can create a problem. That can create a challenge. So there's going to be a builder involved. And I might do a video on that, but that's not really what this series of videos is going to deep dive into. But if you have questions about that process specifically, finding a builder, qualifying a builder, what are you looking for? Hit me up in the comments below and I'll make sure that I create that video. So, but what I want to talk about is strictly the construction loan. So as we talked about, 25 to 50% cash down, 20-year note, higher interest rate. That's to purchase the land. Now, when it comes to a construction loan proper, you're looking at a minimum of another 20% down for that total construction cost. You're going to usually have some variation of restriction. So you'll get a year, maybe you'll get 2 years for the total construction to get complete. And then it's going to be at a higher interest rate, quite a bit of a higher interest rate. Why? Because it's risk. The bank always looks at interest rate when it comes to risk. If you're buying a house that's known in a great area that can be sold, if you default, the bank can recoup its money. If you're talking about a piece of land and construction is underway and the bank goes, well, if you default on this loan, what can we expect? Well, they're going to be walking in on a piece of land that's half built. That's a nightmare, and that's tough to sell. Therefore, it's just going to be more interest, right? And then, as I said, there's going to be some restrictions when it comes to timelines. How long will the bank give you to get that done? So that also comes with closing costs. So we talked about purchasing the land. That's one set of closing costs. Same with the construction loan. There's another set of closing costs that are going to be associated to that. So if you look at the old school way of building your dream home, it can be freaking expensive. So you need to be cash heavy. We're going to talk about at the end of this series, the new school way of doing it if you're building your dream home as a primary residence or a secondary residence, how you can alleviate all of the cash heavy up front. That's probably the hardest part. It costs so much money in cash up front. And then on top of it, you're talking about high interest rates until you actually refinance those two loans into a conforming and non-conforming loan. It hurts a little bit. But that's why we jumped right into the one-time closed construction. So with that said, do me a favor. You can look me up online. So Kris McCullough on Facebook, Kris McCullough on YouTube. You can look up my website, krismccullough.com. And if you have questions, please reach out to me. You can call me. I tell people all the time, and I get phone calls all the time. Give me a call, shoot me an email, chrism@patriotpacific.com. And I'll do my best to help you out. If you want me to talk about something that's more in depth on what you're heard, just put it in the comments below. I'll reply to the comments, or I'll create more videos to support those comments that you have. That's all I got for this video. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you all later.